So the 5 ways to add bromine. So the first couple ways we learned was right away. I'm not going to belabor the mechanism, but these were ways to add bromine to the more substituted carbon. Oops, and if it was Br2, we would add bromine in a trans fashion. And if you had, let's say you had a solvent, a polar protic solvent, you'd get something that was like this. Oops, wrong way. Right, where you add to the polar solvent, add to the more substituted carbon, right? So these are the first 2 ways we learned how to add bromine. And we've added a couple other ways now with these radical reactions. So those are all 2 electron reaction ways. The radical reaction ways, there's 3 more. So that works. 3. I'm going to do the same. So the third way to do this with these with radical ones, so I'll do the same starting materials. So the first one, the new one, we're going to actually not do this. We're going to just do the alkane. And it's reacting with Br2 in light. And this is where we get the reactivity selectivity principle of bromine radical. And you also made a Br radical here. It goes to the more substituted type carbon because it makes a more substituted radical. Actually, you make HBr here. The next one we learned was Br2, but now with this peroxides. And that would give us the anti-Markovnikov, so the bromine would go to the less substituted carbon for those ones. And then one of the last ones we got was, if I can pull it down, if it'll let me, was using something called NBS. And that did the allylic radicals. All right, so it made the allylic radicals. So you have these 5 ways. So first way, HBr with an alkene, that's addition reaction. Br2, you get 2 bromines, or if there was protic solvent, the protic solvent went to the more substituted carbon. These are trans. These last 3 are these radical processes. Br2 breaks with light. It takes off an H, makes HBr, and then there's a radical on the more substituted carbon, and then bromine, that's a termination step. Br2 with peroxides, the peroxide reacts first, and there's a whole series of reactions that take place then. Eventually you get the bromine and the less substituted carbon. And then NBS is you make an allylic radical where the bromine ends up on the carbon adjacent to the pi bond. So you get an allylic radical. So these are the 5 ways you know how to make, or 5 ways you know how to add bromine to things.